Back in 2008, we had this idea of becoming a school that's more focused on service, more focused on evangelism, sharing Jesus with those around us. The mission program started out of that philosophy. Besides doing local mission trips here in Iowa, Missouri, we also expanded that to overseas. The same excitement that those first students on that first trip felt happens every year. Young people get excited about sharing Jesus and sharing their faith, and I think the practical aspect of these trips overseas, the difficulties they face with travel and food and fundraising and all the things that come with mission trips, lead to the ultimate goal of the trip, and that is a stronger faith in Jesus in your own personal experience, but also allowing that to extend to those people you interact with.
It was during my second year here when I was visiting with my vice principal about what do we do with the students? What can we do to challenge them to get out of their comfort zone, to spread the gospel message, to preach Jesus to people around them? And it was at that time that our conference president, Elder Corden, approached us and said, "Can I take 7 students to India and have them preach?" And it didn't take me but a moment to think, yes, this is what we need. This is what we need for the kids, to challenge them to go do something out of their comfort zone. So for 3 years, we had students go overseas to India and preach the gospel message. At the beginning of the 4th year, the conference approached us about adding a mission trip. This trip, though, would go to another country. It would go to Zimbabwe to build school buildings. The site location chosen was Lupani, a place that was in desperate need of buildings. Lots of kids, they had teachers, but no building space. So we committed 3 weeks of time for our students. We had some staff members go along with some of our lay people from the conference, and they put up school structures, 13 buildings. When they walked away, the desks were in, the chalkboards were up, everything was ready to go. And that was the beginning of our Africa mission trips. One of the blessings that took place was at the beginning of the 2nd year, Elder Peck, who was the leader of the Africa mission trips, came to talk to our kids and tell them a little bit about the mission trip, what to expect. And at the end of the meeting, he said, they've asked us if somebody would be willing to speak and have an evangelistic series while we're in Uganda. We are going to the Bugima University site. We're going to be building some classroom space for Bugima, but also building a cafeteria and dormitory buildings for a primary school that was across the street. But they had a bush church they wanted us to build just off the campus of Bugima. So we went. First day we got there, we got the main structure up with the roof, and that night, one of our sophomore students began to preach. I was just amazed at a young person getting up there feeling so comfortable in preaching to a group of people, and in the daytime building, at nighttime preaching. And then to have this leader come to me and say, we've never had any success out there, I just wondered what's going to be the result. One of the stories that stands out in my mind is of a Muslim gentleman who worked for Bugima University in their cafeteria. He had been there for more than 10 years, as I remember, and many people had talked to him about Jesus, and he had resisted. Everybody loved this man. He was a fine gentleman. He worked hard for them. But what people didn't know is, well, during those 2 weeks, he slipped off the campus and would go out and listen to the sermons and to the talks. And on that last Saturday of the meetings, he came forward to one of the leaders and said, I would like to be baptized. On the last Sabbath that we were there, we had the joy of witnessing 45 baptisms. In each and every one of our building trips since Uganda, we have always had at least one student preaching. In the more recent trips, we've had as many as 6 and 7 preaching the gospel message overseas. And it's a privilege to get to go with the young people, see them spend the time building, spend the time preparing for their sermons, see them push through sicknesses, broken arm, and still preach. It has been such a blessing to be able to be part of taking students overseas to spread the gospel message. We are so thankful to our conference, to our constituents, to our parents for supporting our students, for supporting Sunnydale Adventist Academy's outreach projects here at home and abroad. Thank you.